as a public and as citizens, we no longer know if we're seeing the same information or what anybody else is seeing. And without a common basis of information, little by little, public debate is becoming impossible. And we're just at the beginning stages of this.
Black lives matter. You're just a poor little black girl who's got a messed up mind. White lives matter. White lives matter. It's not true. I know it's not true. I know my words. White lives matter.
I'm tired of seeing this right here is the biggest hoax there ever was.
It's just the next thing to ask.
It is.
Yeah, black lives do matter, but what about ours, man?
Apparently, black people's lives matter more than us.
Apparently.
On the internet, everything can appear equally legitimate. Breitbart resembles the BBC.
We're going to get you communists the fuck up out of this city. We're tired of your stupid mask. We're tired of your brown shirt tactics of telling people to leave everywhere. Y'all need to leave. Y'all need to go. Y'all are being paid to say this. You don't give a fuck about nobody except your paycheck. So off. There's going to be a war soon if you keep it up.
Today, around the world, demagogues appeal to our worst instincts. Conspiracy theories, once confined to the fringe, are going mainstream. It's as if the age of reason, the era of evidential argument, is ending, and now knowledge is increasingly delegitimized and scientific consensus is dismissed. Democracy, which depends on shared truths, is in retreat, and autocracy, which depends on shared lies, is on the march. All this hate and violence is being facilitated by a handful of internet companies that amount to the greatest propaganda machine in history.
You know how at the checkout counters near supermarkets, near the cashier, there's candy and gum at the eye level of kids? Now, that's designed to make them whine at their parents, just as the parents about to sort of check out. Now, that's a persuasion architecture. It's not nice, but it kind of works. That's why you see it in every supermarket. Now, let's look at a basic fact of our digital lives, online ads, right? We kind of dismiss them. They seem crude and ineffective. We're kind of inured to that kind of basic, cheap manipulation. We roll our eyes and we think, you know what? These things don't work. Except online, the digital technologies are not just ads. In the digital world, though, persuasion architectures can be built at the scale of billions, and they can target, infer, understand, and be deployed at individuals one by figuring out your weaknesses. And they can be sent to everyone's phone private screen, so it's not visible to us. And that's different. And that's just one of the basic things that artificial intelligence can do. These algorithms can quite easily infer things like your people's ethnicity, religious and political views, personality traits, intelligence, happiness, use of addictive substances, parental separation, age, and genders, just from Facebook likes. So Facebook's market capitalization is approaching $500 billion. It's because it works great as a persuasion architecture.
Let's think about it. Facebook, YouTube, and Google, Twitter, and others, they reach billions of people. The algorithms these platforms depend on deliberately amplify the type of content that keeps users engaged, stories that appeal to our baser instincts and that trigger outrage and fear.
But the structure of that architecture is the same, whether you're selling shoes or whether you're selling politics. The algorithms do not know the difference. The same algorithms set loose upon us to make us more pliable for ads are also organizing our political, personal, and social information flows. And that's what's got to change. These structures are organizing how we function, and they're controlling what we can and we cannot do. And many of these ad finance platforms, they boast that they're free. In this context, it means that we are the product that's being sold. We need a digital economy where our data And our attention is not for sale to the highest bidding authoritarian or demagogue.
We have seen in the streets and cities that are run by liberal Democrats in every case is the predictable result of years of extreme indoctrination and bias in education, journalism, and other cultural institutions. Against every law of society and nature, our nation is witnessing a merciless campaign to wipe out our history, defame our heroes, erase our values, and indoctrinate our children. Angry mobs are trying to tear down statues of our founders, deface our most sacred memorials, and unleash a wave of violent crime in our cities. Make no mistake, this left-wing cultural revolution is designed to overthrow the American Revolution.
Now, it's actually quite shocking how easy it is to turn conspiracy thinking into violence. In my last show, Who is America?, I found an educated, normal guy who had held down a good job, but who, on social media, repeated many of the conspiracy theories that President Trump, using Twitter, has spread more than 1,700 times to his 67 million Twitter followers. The president even tweeted that he was considering designating Antifa, who are anti-fascists who march against the far right, as a terror organization.
This attack on our liberty, our magnificent liberty, must be stopped, and it will be stopped very quickly. We will expose this dangerous movement, protect our nation's children, end this radical assault, and preserve our beloved American way of life. In our schools, our newsrooms, even our corporate boardrooms, there is a new far-left fascism that demands absolute allegiance. If you do not speak its language, perform its rituals, recite its mantras, and follow its commandments, then you will be censored, banished, blacklisted, persecuted, and punished. It's not going to happen to us.
Well, it's long been considered out of bounds to question a person's patriotism. It's a very strong charge, and we try not ever to make it. But in the face of all of this, the conclusion can't be avoided. These people actually hate America. There's no longer a question about that. And yet, paradoxically, at the same time, they desperately want to control America more than anything. And that leads to the most basic of all questions. Can you really lead a country that you hate? The leaders of today's Democratic Party do not. They despise this country. They have said so. They continue to. That is shocking, but it is also disqualifying. We cannot let them run this nation because they hate it. Imagine what they would do to it.
So, disguised as an Israeli anti-terrorism expert, I told my interviewee that at the Women's March in San Francisco, Antifa were plotting to put hormones into babies' diapers in order to make them transgender. And this man believed it. I instructed him to plant small devices on 3 innocent people at the march and explained that when he pushed a button, he'd trigger an explosion that would kill them all. They weren't real explosives, of course, but he thought they were. I wanted to see, would he actually do it? The answer was yes. He pushed the button and thought he had actually killed 3 human beings. Voltaire was right when he said, "Those who can make you believe absurdities can make you commit atrocities." And social media lets authoritarians push absurdities to billions of people.
Have a little pride in the race, brother. White pride worldwide.
I wouldn't say after dark, man.
Honestly, dude, you have balls of steel because you could get hospitalized by some guys that want to beat your ass.
I've had several old men come out here, look out the window and tell me, says, you better go tell that nigger to get out of here or shit.
About 10 minutes, I'm gonna be back. You better be fucking gone.
Okay, come back.
One down the white line.
dumb
Are you a Marxist?
communist. Domestic terrorist.
Why don't you take it to Chicago or New York or cold enough where they're shooting each other?
Explain to me why like that. Real job.
I'm Jesus.
Hey, all lives matter, not just black.
And without a common basis of information, little by little, public debate is becoming impossible. And we're just at the beginning stages of this.